inglés porque mi español es horrible, pero mi amigo Peter habla español muy bien si tiene preguntas en español, y además bebí demasiado vino en el almuerzo. So, we are in the AI business, and we do agentic AI. One of the big points I want to get across during this conversation is, Web 2 versus Web 3 and how I think that they should work together. Our belief is that everybody on Earth is going to have AI agents doing things for them, every company and every individual. We think it's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and we want to be a part of it. So we just want to be one of the primary facilitators. So this slide probably should be adjusted, because normally when I show this, I'm jumping around to other tabs on my screen. But what I want to convey here, and it's not really worded right, so I'll just kind of explain it. Like, if you just take an example of like an automated social media manager, like for those of you that are in crypto and you know about like what happened with Truth Terminal and Goatsy and some of these types of things, where an AI is automatically posting on X and interacting with people and replying to people, what's actually happening on the background? Like, I know with our tools, there's actually more than 600 AIs involved with one tweet. So there's an AI that will study current events in the news. There's another AI that will, if it's replying to somebody, it'll read every tweet that person's ever done. There's another one that'll research them on the web. There's another one that will put it in context to design to get intelligent engagement out of that person. And all of them kind of work as a swarm together and form a team in order to make it work. We also do smart LP management in the Web3 world. We're chain agnostic, but when it comes to Uniswap, we automate the use of Uniswap v4 hooks. So the AI will actually try to get yield on the liquidity pool to whether it wants to burn tokens or buy back tokens or just increase the size of the pool, whatever the owner wants to do. But what I'm really getting at is, for years we've been hearing about people wanting to put 1 billion new users on Web3. I mean, the truth is that only 5% of people that own crypto have ever downloaded Phantom or MetaMask. It's a fool's errand to try to get 1 billion people to use Web3. What we really want is 1 billion people's money on the blockchain, and for us to have the blockchain. That's my personal opinion, and I'm the CEO, and that's the way I'm going to go about it. So we do that through nodes. And nodes are what actually run blockchain. Without nodes, there is no blockchain. So Bitcoin miner that's confirming transactions is a node. An Ethereum validator that confirms transactions is a node. Chainlink has nodes to get real-world information onto the chain. When you use MetaMask or Phantom, you're going through RPC nodes that take your browser commands and put them on chain. Without nodes, humans can't interact with anything. So why would WOW have nodes? I'll explain the first two on the next slide, but really, you got to have nodes to be decentralized. Otherwise, if you're just running in your own data center, then you're not a Web3 company. But what we're actually going to do with those nodes is we're introducing a concept called agentic governance. So these nodes will decide when someone's trying to launch a project, whether it's on our upcoming launch pad or whether it's an agent that we're selling to doctors and lawyers and accountants in a Web2 world, these nodes will decide whether or not it's worthy of showcasing, what kind of placement they get. So we'll social score, the nodes will run an AI agent that will social score the user who's launching something based upon their social handles, based upon researching them online, based upon looking at their wallet address and using bubble maps and trying to see if they rug people and just kind of basically build a score on them. And then when you go to launch your project, you'll have the option to bribe the nodes with stable coins in order to, if you want to be showcased on like the home page or something like that. and you have to, but how much you have to pay is directly related to your social score. Like it would be cost prohibitive to try to be on their first page if you had a very low social score by the nodes. And the node owners will also be able to message on WhatsApp or Telegram, no, we don't need another Trump token, and there won't be another Trump token. So these nodes will govern basically the retail user experience of these products. Eventually they'll do a lot more. I mean, eventually the whole thing will be deep-end for those that understand the term. So yeah, so we're launching this thing in about a month, but we came up with a pretty innovative token structure that I think is worth talking about. So 50% of the tokens, the WOW tokens, are going to go to the nodes over a 25-year period. 10% will go to WOW.ai LLC, of course, locked over a period of time. 20% to exchanges, both centralized and decentralized, and 20% to the community fund. And the community fund part is the part that we think is kind of sexy. I'm going to explain it in just a bit. So we're going to have a total of 50,000 nodes, and even if you have no intention of buying a node, you should just at least pay attention to the part towards the end, because we have aggressive commissions also. But of these 50,000 nodes, when we sell them all, 30 million of it's going straight to liquidity. And I'm going to break it down why we think that this is a really solid approach. 5,000 will be kept by the company. We have 5,000 held up to the side for strategic deal making. So if you are a centralized exchange, if you are a major media company, if you are somebody who could bring real value to what we're trying to do, we have nodes set aside for you. That's what those are for. I plan on spending those on making sure that we launch on a dozen centralized exchanges and that we have every major media company talking about us. They're not going to be wasted on undoxed influencers that are just going to do garbage. Pre-selling nodes at $500 each, and then when we're retailing them, they'll be $1,000 each, increasing by $10 every 100 nodes. So the idea there is to get in early and get in often before the price goes up. So we also have a managed service for people who don't want to technically deal with it. It's not difficult though. These don't require NVIDIA chips. It's not running really complex compute. You can run it on a $15 a month or €15 a month Amazon Web Services hosting account. It doesn't take much. But we will do it for you if that's what you want. So what are we doing with the money? The 5,000 nodes from the pre-sale get added to the pool. We raised $4.5 million in our seed round in Q4. And then you could take another $2.5 million for those 5,000 nodes. But then after that, every node that gets sold, half the money goes directly into liquidity pre-TGE, so pre-token generation event or pre-token launch. That part's cool and all, but what do you do after the token launch? So what a lot of projects have done, like what Mantra infamously did last week, they got caught, having bought up all the OHM tokens after they launched, and then, it's a game you can only do for so long before it comes crashing down on you. So we asked ourselves, well, how do you support the token liquidity? How do you deepen this and harden the liquidity of a token, after you've already launched the token? Because you can't really launch a second pool without issuing more native tokens. So what we're doing is we're using an EIP 4626 token vault. So that 20% of treasury tokens I was telling you about are going to be put in that vault. And then 50% of every node sale after the TGE gets put in the same vault. Now the math on that is this. Let's say there's 10 WOW tokens and $1 in that vault. You could redeem a WOW token for 10 cents. If there were 10 WOW tokens in that vault and $10, you could redeem a WOW token for $1. So the more funds that get put in that vault, you're deepening the liquidity, because the token should never trade for less than it could be redeemed for, right? On a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange. Otherwise, the R-bots would just pick them up. And plus, that vault can go and seek yield for the assets in that vault. So whether somebody buys a node with wrap Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, USDT, or C, we don't really care as long as it's something we can seek yield on. The nodes will receive tokens on a daily basis over a 25-year period. It will make more sense on this slide with the numbers, but I'm still going to show you this one first because I want to point out the linear decay changes after 5 years. So again, people are incentivized to get in early and get in often, with the steep decay in the beginning, but we didn't want to just keep cutting so drastically after 5 years. We wanted a long tail of steady tokens after that. So what that looks like is that, if there's 1 billion tokens, let's say half a billion tokens are going to go to the nodes. In the first year, 19.05% go to the nodes. So on the first day, what each node will receive will be 1/365th of 19.05% divided by the number of nodes online. So as long as the node produces 8 heartbeats and proves that it's online, it'll receive those WOW tokens. But you'll see after year 5, year 6 is 3.17%, and it drops down only to 1.4% by year 19. So like I said, that curve gets slowed down drastically after year 5. But you wouldn't do it just for the WOW tokens. These are, a node is I got to be careful how I say these words because of legal reasons, but let me just put it this way. The nodes receive a portion of the cash flow of the network. So when someone spends stable coins to do something, whether it's in a Web3 world to market their project on the launch pad, or whether it's fees earned, revenue share fees earned from the launch pad, or whether it's a doctor that's paying a monthly fee for an agent to help him in his Web2 world, we want those funds flowing to the nodes. Remember what I said, WOW.ai LLC owns 5,000 nodes. It is in my interest for those nodes to be worth a lot of money. So the idea is that most investors in nodes, they get in, they get in early so they can get maximum emissions and get their funds back as quickly as possible. But they also want to bet on a CEO and a business idea that has potential to make the nodes worth far more than they paid for them. A BitTensor node was $10,000 2 years ago. It's $2 million for a BitTensor node today. Oh, another thing I've learned in Spain is these screens don't mean shit. The last talk that was flashing time's up for about 20 minutes, so, but I'm almost done, don't worry. The affiliate program, $250 if you refer 5 or more nodes. So if you know somebody that wants to buy a node and they buy 100 nodes, we'll pay you $25,000. It's a very, very aggressive affiliate program. We've also made sure that we added a grandfather referral fee to where if you refer somebody that refers somebody, you get $50 for every node that person sold. And further to that, all you gotta do is connect a wallet. You don't even have to buy a node. You can just connect a wallet and get a referral link, and we'll give you your own discount code that people can't get on our own site. So you could tell your friends or whoever, hey, buy 3, get 1 free with my discount code. So we went out of our way to make this as attractive and aggressive as possible. Just for those of you who don't know about me, I've been in the internet business for 33 years, so I know a thing or two about moving traffic around, and this is a big piece of it. This is just talking about how if anybody knows about the meme tokens that we launched in the past, we want them to go away. We're going to make them redeemable for WOW tokens. I'm not saying to go buy them. They won't be at a 1-to-1 ratio. It's just in case you know about it. And I want to end with just a couple thoughts on, one on tokenomics. If any of you are familiar with Virtuals, the AI launchpad, their token went up to $3 billion. I think it's currently $750 million. And the number one reason for that is that they launched with their own DEX, and you had to buy Virtuals tokens in order to participate in a token launch. So for a token to reach the bonding curve and release into the wild, it would cost about $80,000 worth of virtual tokens. That's called buy pressure. It's hard to have a token that goes up if you don't have demand and buy pressure. Demand is everything in tokenomics. You can do everything else right in tokenomics, but if you don't have demand, you've done everything wrong. And then you also want to reduce supply. And when on a launchpad, when someone has to buy your token to launch, and then the LP tokens that represent that liquidity pool get burned or locked, that's also taking tokens off the market. So if you have a system where you have demand for a token and you're taking them off the market, it's a good situation. And I'm not going to lie, we're copying them wholesale. We're going to do it the exact same way. So also, if you want to buy the token using a stable coin or Ethereum or Solana or whatever, it will have to get routed through the WOW token, which also creates a tremendous amount of volume. So what we're doing with the funds, more devs, more marketing, more sales, deep liquidity, pre-TGE, deep and harden, and support the liquidity post-TGE. And this is just a reminder, we're open for business for anybody that's got any kind of media company, centralized exchange, any kind of service you think that could help us. We do have a pile of nodes set aside for horse trading to make sure that we come out making a huge splash. This is a special link that is only for here. This is for the $500 pre-sale. They going straight to $1,000 after we're done with this pre-sale. So this will maybe last another week. The passcode is pre-sale. We tried to make it pretty easy, but you might want to write it down anyway. And that's it. I think I actually finished on time. Thank you very much.